Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our next slot. I hope you enjoyed the presentation so far. I hope you had a great lunch break and maybe even watched something while you were having lunch. And now, next up is Richard Seidl. And I think, everybody knows Richie, but I still want to take the chance to introduce you. How are you doing, Richie?
Fine, thank you very much.
Okay, let me just say a few words about you. I think, most people in the audience know who you are, but let me just introduce you a little bit. So you're a software testing expert, agile quality coach, author, and as we all know, a podcast host with over 25 years of experience helping teams across industries unlock their potential by integrating people, context, methods, and tools for holistic software quality. So I hope you can recognize yourself in this description.
Yeah, that's very nice. So I'm getting red now.
No, I think that might even be an understatement. So I think it's fine. And about your what to expect. In your talk, from software tester to quality wizard, mastering the art of software quality, you will share practical strategies, mindset shifts, and actionable steps to help testers evolve into proactive, influential quality leaders who drive excellence throughout the development process. So I'm very curious and I can't wait to hear more about that. So I just want to remind everybody who's watching, first of all, as you know, you can vote for your favorite speaker and your favorite presentation. So I would just want to encourage you to do that on the website. At the end, we will also share the link to Richie's voting in the comments. And another thing is you can ask questions because there is a comment section on all the platforms. So please don't hesitate to ask questions. At the end, there will be a Q&A part where Richie will answer your questions. So I want to encourage you to ask as many questions as you want. I'm sure we will have some time at the end to talk about them. So, okay, I think enough from my side. Richie, the stage is yours. Have fun.
Yeah, thank you very much, Michael, for this nice introduction. And as Michael said, please ask a lot of questions so that we have a good discussion at the end of this talk about the topics, and you can take the most out of it if you ask questions which are related to your work, to your environment, to your context, so that you can have the most inspiring things that you can take away for your daily work. So in my presentation today, I will go a brief history looking about how we evolved from a software tester era to the quality wizard era in which we are now. At first, if you don't know me, Michael said already, I think everything. But one thing I want to mention is that my German podcast is now 2 years old, and I decided to start another one, and this is launching today. It's called Software Testing Unleashed. It's a main podcast in English for the international audience, and it's there will be a lot of expert interviews in the next weeks. Every week a new episode about topics in the software development and software quality area, to think about automation, AI, and so on. So if you have a good podcast app, just scan the code or go on the website Testing Unleashed and click follow and subscribe and listen and get some more insights about all this stuff. But now to the topic. When I was a young boy and got my first computer in the late 80s, the whole PC stuff and computer stuff was very, nearby to the hardware. So we can do anything with the computer. We had some jumper to set. We can load some drivers if we have enough memory, and we can directly interact with the computer and can overview everything which has to be done and can be done on the computer. But since then, the times has changed a lot, and we are now in a new world where AI is driving our world in every area. And here you see the numbers of available AI models yesterday on the website Hugging Face. And yesterday in the evening, there were 1,760,334 models available. And overnight, when I get up today, 2,429 new models were there available. So we see AI is now the big thing everybody is talking about. Is we all deal with it, how to use it and how can we use it. So we are now living in a world where the world is changing dramatically, and it's most driven by software. It's not only AI, it's also other software, but we are now living in a world where software is so important, and every business process and everything we use, our gadgets, all our stuff, our processes, our logistics, everything is driven by software. And it's even get more when we think of AI and vibe coding and all this stuff. Everybody can develop software. We are living now in a world where we democratize software development. So we will get a huge amount of software in the next years and months. And so there will be a lot of tests. And I don't know how it's in your company and your environment. There is up to now a lot to test, and there will be much more to test. So I think we as tester, as quality engineers, as test manager, we have to rethink how we do our job and which methods we use and which tools we can use and what is our mindset behind it. But up front, I want to give you, before I go to what are the skills we need for the near future and up to now for the complex software projects we live in, I want to give you a brief but incomplete history of software testing, just an opinion and pattern I see when teams and organizations evolve from beginning with software development up to today, where we have the complex projects and project environments. And there are different patterns, and you see them sometimes in small teams and also in a company or an organization. And this is not ranking what's good or bad, but it's maybe a little bit of a lightweight maturity model you can think of. And I put in this patterns I saw in my career into ChatGPT and say, give me some cool names for this. You see the names at the top. So the first is the random result rookies. It's the first step where no focus on quality is even there. When the developer begin to develop and creating software and building their code, and in this case, quality happens or it happens not. So there is no measurability of quality, and often a lot of debugging. And as I said, this is not a bad stage where we say, okay, this must be crappy software would come out, but it's good for developing rapidly a new prototype or an MVP to show to the customer or something, or a startup will start with on this stage and build software to get the business running. And the next step is what I see is when someone in the team wants to test. So a developer says, I want to test. I'm not happy with our quality. I want to do more test efforts. On the other side, sometimes people are forced to do it. So the developer with the not the good programming skills is forced to be the tester and has to test the stuff. And on this stage, it's the main focus to find errors, to find bugs, to do some clicking around. It's very unstructured way. It's just to elaborate the software and the test object. So it's called the bug hunter brigade. It's the main focus on finding bugs. And this is the first step where we go more into quality and into testing. When we go to the next level, and I think there are a lot of organizations which have a little bit of test team or something like developer teams, and a more structured way of developing and testing is where the testing gets more structure in it. And this is often started with some certification, some training, some usage of standards like ISTQB, like ISO. So we have now 2 decades of ISTQB certification and this stuff where we try to professionalize the software testing area and all the methods and how to build test strategies and a test plan and to structure our test levels. And this leads to them that the quality and testing becomes more measurable. And that's a huge impact for a lot of companies and teams that this quality gets measured and they know what quality their software has. But when we look at this, it's often some companies and organizations are stuck in there. There's a lot of focus on the higher test levels, like system testing, acceptance testing, or end-to-end testing, but not so much on the lower test levels. They are often said, yeah, these test levels are just for the developers. It's not a testing level. So we just look at the higher test levels. As you can imagine, it's not a very holistic view on the whole thing, but it's better than before. So we have now structured tests, a lot of business test cases we can use, and we can do our regression tests and so on. But also 25 years ago, with the rise of the whole agile stuff we are doing in the projects now, like Scrum, Kanban, and so on, we got a big problem in the whole testing area, because when you think you are developing in iterations, in sprints, and you are doing your regression tests for business test cases on a manual basis, you don't have the time to do all the regression testing and so on. And so with along the side of the rise of the agile frameworks, also test automation got some huge increase of their tools, of their possibilities, what we can do with all the automation stuff. And it mainly started with the UI automation, where we get capture replay, and then later on keyword-driven, data-driven testing in the test automation frameworks. But when you look at companies today, when they talk about test automation, there's still the focus that this is also always tester work. It's not the work for the whole team or the developer. The most organizations look there and say, okay, this is just the work for the testers, and they are doing their test automation. They're getting their manual test cases, use them for some test automation. And here the main focus often is to get more efficiency, because we have to do our regression tests, we have to repeat them, and then we are taking our manual test cases, put it in an automation, and then we have our automated regression set, and hopefully it works then, and we have not a lot of maintenance work to do there. And I think when I look at my clients, a lot of companies are there on this level now. A lot of teams are working with that. If they are working in an agile or hybrid environment, they use their automation, the developer doing their test levels on the one side, and some testers or test engineers are doing the test automation and building business test cases and so on. But what's the next point? How can we still improve? Because there are a lot of impacts if you stay on this stage with the automation, because you have no synergy together with the developers. You have a very focused view just from the testing view or the developer view or the team view. And I think what now is on the horizon and more coming into the teams is to really get quality as a team attitude. And when you remember the agile principles and manifesto, that says that the quality is a responsibility of a team. But you can imagine if you say a team, you are all responsible for quality. What happens in the real world? Nothing. Nobody takes care except the tester, maybe a little bit. But now when you're working agile and getting more into retrospectives and thinking about quality as a team, the quality becomes a real attitude for the teams. And I think this is the next step where we can break down these borders between the testing and the development, these hard borders. And there are a lot of things who pay in now there. One of the great things, especially in Europe now, is the regulatory, which says, okay, you have to think about all the security stuff and usability stuff in upfront the project and all over the project. So you have to do your documentation. You have to think about security in your architecture. You have to think about usability from the beginning of the project. And this leads us and forces us that the whole team is thinking about this quality characteristics all over the project, and not just at the end when we're doing our usability or pen test. So I think this is a good force into getting quality view all over the project. The other part is that often in these teams, when they go to a more holistic quality wizard view, is that they began to discuss about static analysis, which is often used just by the developers, but the tester begin to interest about this static analysis reports. What can we do to make a better code basis, to make a more robust code basis? And therefore, the next discussion is often, and I think this is one of the key points where you see if you are already in the near of this level, is when you talk about your test automation on the different test levels, when you really discuss in your team, where do we automate our test cases? On which level should these test cases be? If you do it in a planning or something like your refinement or what you ever do at the beginning of a sprint, where you really discuss as the whole team on which level will you automate which test cases. And then you get synergies, you get a really good effectiveness of your test automation, because you are not doing the same tests on all different test levels, but can really build an complete set of test automation all over the test levels. And this all uses to be fluid together with the whole CI/CD thing, where you put in your test automation in your pipelines to get fast feedback from your test automation about the quality. And here you see the focus often switches from a efficiency point to an effectiveness and to more a holistic quality, so that the tester gets more an input giver to the team and helps the developer to understand more how can they write good test cases on integration and unit level, and the developer on the other side can help the testers to get more into the scripting of test automation and so on, and these roles begin to work together on a more fluid basis. But and I think this is very, very important, there is still a focus on your expertise. So I don't want to propagate that everyone can do anything in a team, because then I think we have a very low expertise and not a good output quality, because a tester has a critical view on the software. But to support the others with the impact, with the understanding of test methods, of test strategies, is very, very helpful at this stage. And I think this is the basis where we can now, when we have a team which is designed in this way, we can use all the AI stuff which is now coming, and can work with the challenges which are coming. But if you are in the early stages of this evolvement, there are little steps to go to come there. Otherwise, you will not get the whole benefit out of the AI world, and maybe cannot hold your quality level as you like if you do your releases and your production deployments. So there are we now. So what do we need for software testing in the future? And I think there are three pillars I want to give with you. When I look with the teams I've worked in the last 20 years about, there are, I think, three habits of testers and quality people which are if you can establish that in your work environment and in your life and in your career, then you are on a good track to grow with the whole software community and get even more successful. And the first one is very, very simple. It's just mastering the basics. So as I talked before, we have ISTQB and all the standards out there where we learn about the test levels, about the test types, about our test design techniques, about risk-based testing, and so on. And we often have also a test plan in our Confluence or something, another tool, which a test manager has written down a lot of cool things. But when we look at the real projects, no, it's not really often used. There's some test design techniques, the test cases are often created more intuitive way. There is no real focus on a risk-based testing approach or something like that. So we can use these methods, which are really good because they help us to structure our tests, to really use them in our project, and to talk about that, with the whole team about how do we think is the risk of a test object, of a requirement, of a test case. Should we do more tests on this, and which design techniques can we use to get the coverage we want there? So I think this is one part which is crucial for the success, but it's so often overlooked or done. I've done my certification 5 years ago, and I can't really remember on boundary value or something and all this stuff. But you have to bring it up into the daily life and to train it in the work, that you can take a good use out of these methods and all the stuff we learn there in these standards and certifications. The second part is, I think every tester, every quality engineer and test manager should be thinking about what can be automated. So I think it's the term of test automation is meanwhile not only on the UI automation and so on, but we have to think about what can we automate on processes, on different test bases, on test levels all over the project. So if you're using Copilot or ChatGPT or some other AI tools, it helps you to automate more. Now we are getting into the era of the AI agents, which can take over tasks and fulfill them for us. We have all this automation test case frameworks like ATDD or BDD, which we can use, but also to think about what about your test data generation and your delivering of test data via an API to your test environment and so on. There are a lot of steps which can be automated on the way, and I think we have to get into all these small steps and to automate there what we can automate. And the third one is, and it's more a soft skill, but I think it's often overlooked if we are doing our 8 to 9 hour job per day with testing software, is to learn and stay on a learning course, on a lifelong learning course all over the time. So if you think you have your certification from CTFL or something like that, and that's enough, I think, yeah, maybe you should look in some blogs or some webinars, or look here, the A4Q Testing Summit, to get inspired with new ideas, to learn about new methodologies, about new strategies, or you go in and see, okay, there is a tester, or I like, and he's doing good test cases. How is he doing that? You can model him. You can learn from him. We have on YouTube a huge broadband of videos which you can learn. You have the podcasts. You can use AI and GitHub to learn more coding skills maybe, and to think about what are agile values and how can we use them in our project. So stay with these learning cycles all over your career lifetime is crucial to be successful in this area. And I think it's this will be one huge point for success for the next years when we are more going into this AI driven world. So now the third chapter, how can you do that? How can you come into these 3 pillars? How can you use them? And I want to motivate you to start here now. To start today, you look at this A4Q Testing Summit, look the other talks too, and learn from here, from the people who are giving their insights to you, who are giving their knowledge to you, and start thinking about what is your personal development road, your guide. What do you want to learn? What is your thing you have to? What are your challenges you have to deal with? And you in your team, you can do quality retros. You can think about if you're doing testing in a big company and doing testing the same like the last 10 years, maybe to ask the question, what really makes sense now? Maybe we get rid of the test automation framework and take a new one, or we have to rework all our test cases to really think about what really makes sense. And why and where do I test what? So to rethink the whole test strategy, to think about, okay, maybe we can discuss in the team to do more tests on the unit test level, to get rid of test cases on the acceptance test level, maybe, or something like that. But the main point is to think about these points and to elaborate them and to bring them with experiments into the practice, and maybe to coach other or get a coach from your team or your organization who helps you to evolve in this process and to grow in this process and in this role you are living here. And I think one part, which is for me one of the core parts of agile development and all quality stuff too, because testing is a business, is a people business, is that we have to talk to each other. We have to talk with our teams, with our product owner, UX designer, with the business analyst, with all the stakeholders, and so on. And through this dialogues and these discussions, we gain a lot of insights and a new view and a new aspects and new thoughts how we can do a good job. So I think you can start today with thinking about what is going good and not. So think about doing maybe a retrospective for your own business, for your own daily work. So you can start now, and I want to motivate you, because there are times will get tough in the next years for us quality people. So we have to be a good, resilient way of working. And I think this can help you much. And I hope you can take this with you. Yes, and so I'm at the end of my journey, and I hope you had some insights and some motivating ideas on how you can go to the next step on your career and on your personal development. And yeah, hopefully, if you want, you can click more. You can hear the podcast or see the podcast with a lot of new episodes. And now I would say if we can start with a Q&A round. Where is my moderator? Here.
Here he is.
I missed you, Michael.
Okay, I'm back now. See, that was very interesting. Thank you so much. Let's see if there are some questions from the audience. So please don't hesitate, ask questions. We want to have a little bit of a discussion. So far, there is a lot of praise, like, for example, thank you, that was great. But maybe you can also ask some questions. Let's see, this stream is available on so many different channels. So here we have a question. Okay, what skills are most important for the future as a tester?
Yeah, I think beside the one I said with the basics of testing and all the methodology, I think one of the most important skill for us is self-care, to take care of ourselves, of our stress resilience, of our motivation, of the values we believe in and we live. And I think this is one part which is very important. And all these soft skills we often put away, but I think they will get more important when we can put our daily routines into AI and all this stuff to think about, okay, how can we deal with our job and with our life again? So I think this is one of the most important skills we can invest in, and also conflict management and communication and this stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we have another question. I totally agree. Yeah, I think it's getting more and more important since, yeah, a lot of jobs can be done by AI now. So we need to focus or can focus on other things. So we have another question here by Dan. Can you elaborate on how you may currently be using AI to help automate everything?
Yeah, I think the one of the main questions is, when using AI for automation, which problem will you solve with it? Because before I automate something with AI, I will try it on the old fancy, not so fancy way with standard automation tools and so on. And maybe that's also a huge effort sometimes to get good automation there. But we have now a lot of tools for process automation, especially when I get the example from my podcast. I'm doing a lot of things behind the scenes, putting my episodes on YouTube and on the different podcasts of just by API automation. So I think we can use the old tools good to automate some processes in our daily life, in our work life, and when it goes to AI, we have to think about what can be good scenarios and problems maybe we can use AI for. And I think it's now a good support for maybe getting better test results, for reviewing requirements and so on. But now there are the first applications, if you think like N8N or some platforms like this, where you can build your own agents who are dealing with different tools like calendar tools or your email and so on. And I think this will get more and more interesting to get an AI agent for different tasks in your team. So think about maybe a test data agent who is responsible for dealing with test data in your test environment. So this could be an example where we can go in and use AI to automate in our testing environment. If it makes sense to use AI there, so I have always to think about that, because AI is very fancy and now, but yeah, sometimes there are simpler usage.
Okay, yeah. So I hope then this question was answered so far. Let's see. We have another one here. What do you recommend as learning material for a tester? I mean, you mentioned like several certifications already, but is there anything else that you would recommend?
Yeah, I think this is certifications are one start, but I think a lot of testers maybe already have them. But there are also new trainings on the road, like the A4Q practical test or something, where you learn more to train the test methods and so on in real practice examples. And there is also a huge amount of good books. I would recommend to read maybe some books, some old paper books. So this one with paper. So I've one here, so I can use the keyword-driven testing. I'm reading now. So use books, use blogs, YouTube, such conferences like this A4Q Summit podcast. So I think there is a lot of learning material out there in the World Wide Web and everywhere, which can be used, and learn from others. So I think this is often overseen, that you can go to a colleague or to someone on LinkedIn and ask him questions. So like here.
Yeah. And yeah, since this is the A4Q Testing Summit, maybe I can do some things like or do some advertisement. I mean, we have some tools developed that are also maybe useful for people who want to test their knowledge and develop their knowledge. So for example, we have the practical tester where you can test your skills, and it's also AI based. And we have the ICQP prep where you can train based on the foundation level knowledge. So I think, yeah, there, as you said, like there are so many possibilities out there that you can use. And I mean, maybe those old school paper books are also available on Audible if you want to listen to them. But maybe, yeah, opening a real book might be also a good idea. So yeah, I think you're right. There's so many, there's so much content out there that's maybe it's even hard to find the right one that helps you, but you have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Do we have more? Okay, Dan has another question. How do you personally prioritize self-care, learning, or personal development when working in such a fast-paced, test-intensive environment?
Yeah, I think that's a problem, because when you in daily work life, if the company doesn't give you the time to think about and to meditate on the afternoon at your workplace, so I think you have to do it on your own. So to use your free time to relax, to take care there of yourself, to maybe begin to meditate or yoga or something like that, to get more body feeling and getting back to yourself, and or just sit down and watch the sun and the nature and so on. That is a good first start to get more resilient, to get the stress below from your daily work. And even in workplaces, you can sometimes go out, take maybe a walk around at lunchtime or something like that, to begin with such a self-care. And I've one client, and they started with they're doing their daily meeting outside. They go outside, and the first month they stand just in front of the office, but then they began to walk around, and they are doing their meetings now walking. And you see these groups of people walking around the office buildings doing their dailies and workshop, because when you walk, you're also getting doing better for your body, and to get more resilient, and you have other thoughts than sitting in a meeting room. So I think it's the first start.
Yeah, we had another presentation earlier by Clara, and she said that she's leading like software quality teams, but she's also a yoga teacher, and she motivates and encourages her teams to do that with her. And she said, like, for 2 years, she was incorporating that. They had no sick leaves anymore. So I thought, like, that's very impressive. It seemed to work. So they're focusing a lot on self-care. And it seems to work. So it should be like a healthier work environment. And maybe related to that, since Dan also mentioned this fast-paced test intensive environment, I think maybe another question is, how do you, since you mentioned that at the beginning, that there are so many new models coming out each day, how do you handle this massive flood of technologies like AI tools that are coming out each day? Like, how do you select them? How do you how do you find the right ones for you, and not feeling like you're missing out on something else that is also out there?
I think this is a very, very great point, because that is what we have on a personal way, in our personal life every day. So this FOMO, this fear of missing something out, is very, very intense now in the AI world, where every day a new tool, a new fancy tool with a lot of marketing bullshit is presenting to us, and therefore you have really to get step back and look at that. Do I really need that now? Do I need the new version of Claude and ChatGPT? Do I have to use it now? And to ask which problem will I solve? It's nice if you want to play with the tools. I think that's great to learn something. But on the other side, we have to choose, and this is often done by when we go one step back and breath, and then look what is there. I'm also not aware of all testing AI tools and so on. So if I get one new, I look a few minutes in there and say, okay, nice, I have it on my list. I know that it's there, but I try that I don't get stressed by all this stuff.
Yeah, I think in the end it's also a little bit about commitment, because I mean, on one point you have to commit to something, and you have to trust that this is a good solution for you, because it's like the main question. Am I using Gemini? Am I using OpenAI? And then you hear about developments that Gemini is now better in this and that. And then you think like, oh, okay, should I switch? I mean, in the end, you have to, as you say, you have to think about your own use cases and find out if this is really working for your use cases, and then maybe just commit to it and just, I don't know, like not focus so much on everything else that might also be out there.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Do we have other questions so far? It doesn't seem like it. So yeah, I mean, we're almost at the end of our time as well, but is there anything else that you want to add or share?
I've said anything. So if you have any question in today at midnight or something like that, you can ask me tomorrow on LinkedIn or via email. So it's not a problem. If you have any thoughts of that, I would be interested. What do you think about this? So yeah.
Yeah, we have another one here, but it's only like praise again. So Dan really liked your your answers and your whole presentation. So yeah, I mean, for most of the speakers, the LinkedIn profiles are linked on the website. So I'm sure that it's possible to contact you afterwards. And then don't forget about the voting. If you liked this presentation, and I'm sure you did, then please vote for Richard on the website. The link should also be in the comments now. So yeah, go to the website and vote. That would be really much appreciated. And yeah, I think then we can just leave with saying that there are still a lot of more presentations to come. The whole day is packed with so many presentations. I hope it's not like an overload. But each and every one is so interesting. So far, the ones that I hosted were all very inspiring and very interesting. So yeah, Richard, thank you very much again for your time and your efforts and your passion. I think there were a lot of things that were inspiring for the audience. So yeah, thanks again. And I think, we can leave it here.
Thank you. And for the audience, have fun with the A4Q Summit with the other speakers.
I hope they have. So, okay, have a great day and enjoy the rest of the summit.
Software testers. Move beyond theory and master testing with the AI-powered ISTQB add-on practical tester by A4Q program. The ISTQB add-on practical tester by A4Q equips you with the theoretical skills and practical competence to truly excel. Learn how to apply black box testing like a pro. Estimate accurately, write flawless defect reports, and catch issues early. The ISTQB add-on practical tester by A4Q complements your ISTQB certification by turning knowledge into powerful action. Visit our websites and find out more information.